Dun dun dun. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Brennan and I'm B-Man X45. And today we're coming at you with another video. We have a hobby news update for Star Wars X-Wing. The last hobby news update we will probably ever do for Star Wars X-Wing. So let's get into it, guys. Let's talk about it. You might have already known X-Wing is now officially canceled. So we'll talk about it and what we think about this. And hey, if you enjoy this content, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss a single minute of the fun. Okay, so this is direct from AMG's website, Atomic Mass Games, who is owned by the Asmodee Group. Same with FFG, who used to do X-Wing. They created X-Wing, and then Asmodee is the overlord, basically the Sith Empire that controls them, and they moved X-Wing from the Republic, FFG, to the Empire, AMG, which didn't care about it. That's the best analogy I can use right there. They didn't care. It was like going from the Republic to the Empire. Anyways, so this is what they say. After long and careful consideration, we are here today to announce the end of the development of Star Wars X-Wing and Star Wars Armada. We are grateful for the community's passion, engagement, and support over the past few years. Rising production costs, global manufacturing, and pandemic-related challenges have made it increasingly difficult to produce high-quality, pre-painted miniatures, which ultimately led to the decision to the end of development. Okay, so they're too lazy to paint ships, basically. Although development is ending, we are not stepping away from these games entirely. Atomic Mass Game will continue to support tournaments and organize play for both games with OP kits, so organized play kits, to be found in your local shops, culminating in the Open World Championship at Adepticon in March 2025. Thank you for your continued support and dedication. Sorry, guys. I've been expecting this for a long time. In fact, I'm surprised it took them this long, considering that they haven't made anything for Armada in like 2 to 3 years, and they've barely made anything of X-Wing, and anything they did make were just literally the same old shit that they just made. Like those starter kits that they made, they tried to do, I thought was a terrible idea. It was only a terrible idea because most of those ships had already been reprinted 2 or 3 times since 1.0. Like, there were ships that they had printed, reprinted in 1.0, reprinted in 2.0, and then reprinted again in 2.0, and then they were reprinting them again. So if you guys can't make money on something you've printed 5 times, well, there's a bunch of other things that we wanted that you didn't print, like the attack shuttle reprint that would dock with the Ghost, because we're never getting that, guys. Unfortunately, we're never getting an attack shuttle that can dock with the Ghost because they're cheap and stupid and they don't know what they're doing. And everyone wanted a bunch of reprints for classic ships like the K-Wing, maybe the bomber, the H6 bomber, whatever. But like the Lambda, a cool new Lambda would have been cool. There would have been like a lot of cool ships they could have done, like the Bad Batch Lambda kind of attack shuttle, the Omicron, attack shuttle, which we'll never see now. We'll never see a lot of that stuff. A lot of factions are still going to be really short on ships. There's only one big base ship for Republic, and that's the Mandalorian one, which is for every faction. So it's like not even like it's really their ship. Like the YT-24. Well, the YT-2400 does have a scum option, but there are ships, big base ships, that you can only use for Rebel, that you can only use for Imperial. You can't have the Decimator or the Lambda on any other force. So, I mean, we've lost out really there because I feel like they've really let us down by not innovating. And if they would have it's like they kept doing reprints. Like, Atomic Mass Games didn't do that much new stuff. They did a little bit of new stuff. They screwed up a lot of it. With misprints and missing stuff and all this kind of stuff. Most of the stuff I think was left over from FFG, so I honestly don't know if they put any work into X-Wing at all. I know they didn't put anything into Armada. Armada they put nothing into. I don't even think they put much into the tournament kits because I don't think they're as cool as they used to. Like, we used to have like acrylic prize cards, and I haven't seen anything that cool since FFG had it. Again, I just think AMG was the worst company to give that to. All they cared about was their Shatterpoint, not Shatterpoint, Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is now Marvel Crisis Protocol and X-Wing or Star Wars Shatterpoint, which is just Star Wars Crisis Protocol, as far as I'm concerned. When we already had a cool game like Legion, which is still way more interesting to me because you have tanks and tauntauns and really cool forces, and Shatterpoint is just like single people, like a couple people on each side of the squad. So I'm still not interested in Shatterpoint. I'm probably not going to get into the game. If you like it, it's a good game. I'm glad. Great. I do like the fact that the models are bigger and you can probably paint easier and have better details. So that is kind of cool. I do agree with that. But I do think that they keep, like, they're talking about reprinting all the old forces for, for Legion. Just do new stuff. Yeah, sure, do a reprint every now and then, but they're talking about like reprinting all the stuff that had old sculpts to new sculpts. But that's only going to get you so much sales, because people that have the old one that put in time to paint them aren't just going to always jump for the new sculpts. If they like how they did the original one, they're not going to go out and buy another one just to paint it and have all that time that they have to do stuff. Some people will, absolutely, but it won't be the sales numbers you guys are hoping for. Balance is, as Yoda would say, is something that you need. And balance is printing new and having reprints. That's something they got totally wrong in X-Wing. They would just try to print all new stuff, and then they'd try to print all reprints. And you gotta mix it in there, like have a couple new expansions, have a couple reprints. Then the people who didn't get into 1.0 can buy that, and they can buy the new stuff. The old players who don't want the reprints can buy the new stuff, and then even players who do want new copies of that ship can buy the reprints. It's a win-win market, and I just don't understand why they couldn't figure that out. It just seems like they went all one way or all the other way, and they just couldn't see what they were doing. And I think a lot of that had to do with the all this back and forth wishy-washiness, the long waits in between release times really killed the game and probably lost them a bunch of money. And if they hadn't lost that money, then maybe they wouldn't have decided to cancel the game. And it's just like pre-painted miniatures. It's like they paint toys all the time. So it's just funny. It's like, they're like, this game's too expensive because we have to paint the ships and put them together. That's kind of, it's like, we only want to give you unpainted shit because we don't want to have to paint it for you. Go paint your own shit. Like that's basically what they kind of said there. Asmodee is honestly an awful business. If you've ever dealt with Asmodee, if you've ever been a game shop owner and dealt with Asmodee, they are awful to deal with. Like, not fun at all. But they're a big corporation. They buy up a whole bunch of crap and then they wreck it. Honestly, my game store friends used to go through Lion Rampart for a lot of orders, and Asmodee bought it, and it's been a piece of crap since they bought it. So basically, they ruin good things. That's what they're good for. They canceled Destiny, which was a cool game, and then created another card game through FFG, which I don't think is really taking off. It's not taking off like Bandai's card games. It's not taking off like, other things like Magic. It's definitely not, a top contender as far as I know. And you have other things, like this, where you're losing 2 Star Wars games and in favor of a game that's similar to the other one. So you got Legion, you got Shatterpoint, right? And then you got X-Wing and Armada, vastly different games, because you got that whole, battlefield warfare and then space warfare. So it's kind of cool to have both, right? Like, you're in space, you have your battlefield. But now all they have is battlefield, because all their in-space stuff is gone. Because they cared way too much about creating a Crisis Protocol-esque Star Wars game, and they didn't care about anything else. So, and then I feel bad for the Armada players, because at least we got some stuff. Like, I got a YT 2400 reprint, I got some more bombers. Yeah, I really wish it would have got an attack shuttle. There, I wish I would have been able to get a second Lambda. I could probably go back and buy a 1.0 one. I don't know if I have the spare cards for a, but like it's just disappointing because it's just disappointing, especially because like I really think that like Separatists and Republic are pretty good factions. Separatists more so. The droid keywords are so much better, but Republic doesn't feel that great all the time. Like it feels like they really nerfed it and they didn't give it a lot. And so I was hoping for more ships to kind of round out the whole faction. Same with Resistance feels that way. Feels like they really knew what they were doing with First Order, but they didn't know what they were doing with Resistance. It's super toolboxy and chunky sometimes. So I kind of feel bad for that faction. I mean, all the old factions are great. Got tons of great stuff. But like I said, we're not going to see 2.0 reprints for a lot of that stuff, which is, I guess, is kind of cool because they kind of ruined some of their AMG kind of screwed up, in my opinion, when they did the new Dash Rendar. It's like, just leave it alone. It wasn't broken. It wasn't winning tournaments. You didn't need to fix something that wasn't winning tournaments. In fact, you could have just dropped the point cost on him, and I still don't think you'd have seen super amounts of tournament play from that ship. But they decided they had to fix stuff because they felt like it was broken. It wasn't. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm still going to play X-Wing. I'm still going to enjoy it. I have all the ships. It's a fun game. It's, an easy, nice, an hour-long game. You can set up your stuff and just have fun. And now I can play it the whatever way I want. I don't have to worry about, their updates and point lists and stuff like that. I could go back and play 1.0. I'm not going to. I like 2.0. I didn't like some of the rules they added when AMG took over, so maybe I'll just play pure 2.0. Still, like a really great game. And I really enjoy it. And it's sad that it's over. I mean, I kind of felt like this was the case. I really did. I felt like this was what was going to happen overall. Like I said, I'm sorry for Armada players that they dragged it out so long without a single, like it's been since September, so it's almost been a year since we got our last expansions. I mean, if you don't count the stupid battle pack that nobody, like this is the thing, they kept on bringing up battle packs where they didn't have to print ships, basically trying to sell people overpriced cardboard for stupid scenarios that nobody was really super interested in. And they just killed it because they didn't want to do anything. They didn't want to develop reprints or anything like that. They don't want to develop new stuff. So unfortunately, X-Wing and Armada, which were super popular games and drove FFG to have the ability to create Legion. Legion came out after. So they, from their desire, and their success with those games, they decided they could do a game like Legion, which directly competes with games like Warhammer, which are so much more popular than Legion. As much as I love Legion, Warhammer's so much more popular. So I definitely think that they, the success of those games allowed them to get into Legion because people who liked those games were willing to give Legion a try. And I feel like if they continue to do things like this, like if they continue to push, new stuff over the old stuff, like if they continue to push Sourpoint and start screwing up on Legion, I could see them losing way more customers, way more support. And I don't know. I felt like this was coming. I really did. But it still is sad. And, sorry to everyone who enjoys the game. But, take out your stuff, dust it off, have a fun game. Because it's still a great game. Regardless if we're not going to get any new stuff, there's still lots of cool lists you can build. Lots of cool things you can throw on the table. It's a great game. And it's going to be something I'm going to play with my kids, as they get older. Because I thought it was a great game, and even if we're not getting new stuff, I'm okay with that. I have some great stuff, and I can't wait to, fly a Decimator at my son with Slave 1 and a Fang Fighter. So, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed any of the X-Wing content we have. We might still do some X-Wing content. We might do battles because I do want to do more scrubbing out videos as time permits. So once I get my gaming table cleaned off and everything set up, we can look at potentially doing some X-Wing battles, so you guys can enjoy the game as much as I do and see what it's all about. And if you want to get into the game, I would start looking now, because they're not making any more stuff. So you're kind of limited to what is out there in the world. There's probably tons of starter kits and expansions you guys can pick up from different places if you look hard enough on the internet at decent prices too. So I would definitely look into that if you are interested in the game, because it's going to get harder to get stuff, and then prices are going to start to climb. But yeah, that's all I can say for right now, and we probably will do some more rule update videos when we talk about like the rulings of the game, because it's still a hobby of mine and I'm still going to enjoy doing it regardless if they have canceled it or not. I think the Adepticon in March 2025, whatever. We'll see if it's even people even engage with it. Maybe they will. I probably will. Probably have a decent turnout, it being at the last event. But I know the community is probably feeling a little betrayed right now, and probably feeling like the Destiny community did when they cut that off right at the knees so early on into its life. Like I said, Asmodee is a company that makes decisions based on the amount of money that they get, which is understandable. But the problem is their decisions to acquire that money were flawed to begin with, and that's where the issue I have is they made bad decisions that could have been easily avoided, and potentially then the profits might have been there to continue these games, and that's the disappointing part. Not that they just cut it off because it's a difficult thing to produce, but because their bad decisions that could have been easily avoided led to this, and that's what's disappointing about it. But you guys tell me in the comments what you guys think. Sorry again if my rant went on a little long, but it is how I feel about the game right now, and I'm sorry to see it go. But Star Wars X-Wing and Armada is over, but not for us, just for businesses. We're still playing. Anyways, looks like that's all the time we have for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next video. As always, have a wonderful day, and that's all for now, folks.